We are joined by Chief Deryn Rizzi, Chair of Human Relations Committee, as well as Chief Laurie VandeSchoot, who is a member of Human Relations Committee, but also a lead of IDELP, IAFC Diversity Executive Leadership Program. You all have very long titles. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Okay, so talk to us. You're completing your first year as chair of the Human Relations Committee. What issues did the committee work on this past year?
The committee has been very busy. One of the biggest things or initiatives that we've been working on this year is increasing the diversity in committee sizes. So the IFC board came to HRC and was looking for strategies in order to include additional people that would be reflective of our community onto the various IFC committees. So they came to us, we worked on a strategy and presented that to the board, and you'll be seeing that in a rollout capacity.
I think another thing that we've had the honor of doing this year is really working collaboratively with the board as a bit of a sounding board and an opportunity for us to provide them with some advice on some of the really top of mind issues as it relates to diversity and inclusion as the board goes forward. So it's been a real honor to help them as they look at policies and procedures and some of the practices that we do.
We acknowledge there's a lot of diversity and inclusion efforts that are ongoing throughout the IFC. In regards to the committees and stakeholder groups. And so we've reached out to those affinity groups. For an example, the IAFF HRC, so they have an elected Human Relations Committee. So myself and Tim Hopkins from the IFC went to their biannual meeting this year. It was the first time in the IAFF's 30-year history that the IAFC HRC was invited to meet. So we've been talking about collaborative efforts and synergies between the two groups to see how we can push that messaging out there to the fire service. The other groups that we've obviously been working with is IDELP and the Women's Chiefs Council. So we look forward to seeing a lot more initiatives coming out this year in regards to our collective work that we're doing with those groups.
We'd continue to encourage any affinity groups or any groups that are working with the IFC to reach out to us if they'd like to work collaboratively to talk about continuing to advance issues of human relations.
And I understand that you all met again this week at FRI. Can you tell us what some of the things were on the agenda?
So we met yesterday, and the big agenda item that we looked at was our strategic plan. So we have a 3-year strategic plan. We obviously celebrated the successes of this year and then planned on a go forward on how we would meet our objectives and our goals and the outcomes that we've identified last year. And the 3 big things that we're looking at is training and education, obviously continuing to work with our affinity groups, and the third one being diversity and inclusion advocacy.
Continuing to spread the message about diversity and inclusion and why that will make us a better fire service. We're really excited about some of that advocacy work that we were able to do.
And looking at the big picture, what do you think are what is the biggest thing facing fire services in regards to human relations?
What we hear the fire chiefs asking the HRC about is recruitment. Obviously that's a big thing, and how to diversify their recruitment efforts, and then when the firefighters are hired on, how to ensure they feel included in the fire service, how they retain these firefighters, and how to ensure there's not barriers to promotion. So that's one of the things that we obviously are focusing on. We also want to focus on this year policies and procedures. That's a big one that the fire chiefs are asking us about. There are obviously over 50,000 fire departments in the U.S., and some fire departments have it figured out. Other fire departments are struggling when it comes to policies and procedures, and so we want to make sure that policies and procedures and best practices are readily available to all fire services so that they can ensure that they have appropriate measures in place.
And I think the other thing that's really top of mind, not just for the fire service, but also in our communities and including in the media, is some of the issues around respect in the workplace. And so we want a lot of the fire chiefs that we're able to talk to have asked for some support, some assistance on how they can ensure that some of their folks feel respected in the workplace, and how we can make sure that our communities feel respected and that our firefighters in the communities feel respected.
All of our firefighters want to be proud of the organization they come from, and I feel the efforts that we're providing to the fire chiefs in regards to the resources will help that.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Chief Rizzi, Chief VandeSchoot, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.